I'm going to be doing a little landscape painting in acrylics. Got my paints laid out, and this is a canvas, and it's already been primed. That's the way I bought it. You can buy pre-primed canvases. We're going to start off in the center. Picked up a little bit of green in there. And that's the nice thing about acrylics. You can pick them up, wipe it off. They're water soluble. Let's try that again. Let's get back into my yellows. Right in the center, I'm just gonna do a splash of yellow. Clean my brush. And I'm just using paper towels to dry my brush off when I need to. I'm gonna take some of my white. Right in the center, I'm gonna do white and work my way out. And keep working around. And down here, I'm just gonna probably maybe we'll have some water down here. Just coming across. Maybe a touch more of that yellow, a little brighter. Clean my brush. Pick up a touch of the white. All right. Around that, I'm gonna pick up some alizarin crimson. We will put some blue in the sky, but if we put it now, we're gonna end up with a green sky. We don't want a green sky. So that's coming around, a little bit down here, coming up. I'm gonna pick up a bigger brush. And I'm gonna use it for blending. I start in the center and work my way out. You don't want to start on the outside, bring that color back in. Now, normally I will start with a white gesso around here, but this time I'm just using straight paint. And I kind of blur there. All right, make sure that you do wash your brushes in between, or at least put them in water. If you don't, they will dry out on you and you can ruin your brushes. I'm picking up blue, but I'm also going in with some white. So I got blue and white, and just around here. And then I'm gonna go in with more white. I'm gonna lighten that up. And this is white gesso. It's a loose white paint with a binder. And as I work my way out, clean my brush, I'm just gonna pick up the white gesso, and go back to my large brush. Still got some of that red in it, which is fine. And I'm just gonna start, I'm gonna work a little bit in, but not much. And then I start working it out. And then this, I'm gonna kind of dampen my brush, pick up a little more of the blue, the white, kind of pull in from the sides here a little bit. Right along the bottom, I'll pull right straight across. Back to my blue and my white. So I'm gonna wet my brush, kind of get the worst of the water off. Come back right in here. I'm gonna kind of go in and do a little blending. Then I'm gonna go back in a little bit of that alizarin on my brush. All right, I'm gonna clean my brush. Wipe it off with my paper towel. Get it nice and clean. I'm gonna go back in some more of the just plain white gesso. I'm gonna start in the center again and work my way out. Keep working my way out. I just kind of want to blend that. Then I want to clean my brush and kind of pulling at an angle, almost it's a blustery day. Now the water, you do want it going straight across. So I'm going to pick up some of the white gesso right in the center here, lighten that up, and straight across. You want to keep that water flat. If you go at an angle, it's going to look more like it's pouring off your canvas. I'm picking up just a slight tab of that alizarin on my corner of my brush. I'm going to take some of the white. This is just basic white here. Just doing a line of that, sort of getting that wet. We're going to put some tree line or something in there. So basically, we'll come back in. Just kind of blend that. And we've got a nice color on it. And here maybe we'll put a little sun shining through. But here, we're going to start building our landscape. So I'm going to pick up some of my greens. I usually have sap green, or if you have a vermilion green, you can use that. If it's too bright, you can add a little blue to it. If you got a sap green, which is what I'm doing. If you have a vermilion green, it's already a cooler green. So here, I'm going to start and look around, see what you have. We're going to start maybe some type of evergreen here, coming down. And you can do this with a fan brush. I'll do one with a fan brush too. If you do it with a regular brush, pull your paint straight through. I know my palette's pretty messy, but and you get that nice sharp point. Touch just the corner of the brush, back and forth. And you can bring it down into here. Okay. Here, I'm just kind of tapping things up along here. Some shrubs, some bushes, something along here. And then I'm going to take my bigger brush. It is damp. I'm going to pull straight down. And I'm going to come right across. We'll probably put some bigger tree over here. Okay, once you have that, I'm going to wipe that off. I'm not cleaning, I'm just sort of wiping it off. Then lightly go across. And that gives you some shadows underneath. I said I'd use a fan brush, show you how to do it. There's a fan brush, it's just what it sounds like, a fan. I'm gonna dampen that, go back into that green mixture, and I'm gonna load both sides, just like that. Okay, this side, there's a big one. We're gonna start way up top. And you're just gonna use that corner of the brush and start working way back and forth. And you're just using that corner of the brush. And when you run out of paint, you can flip it over, use the other corner. If you need to, go pick up more. And if it's not coming off real good, just tap your water. There, see, now it's coming off. I just got the brush a little wetter. This one I'm going to come down a little bit lower. It's a bigger tree. Go back in. Maybe there's another one here. I'm just touching. Need a little more paint on there. And same thing. You got a tree next to this one. Bring it down. Oh, that's working so well. Let's do a third one. We'll do a little one right here. And okay. So we got our trees in. I'm going to take some yellow, mix it with some of that green. If you're doing a winter picture, you can pick up white and do snow. But I'm just going to do, and these are further back. I don't want them too bright. Okay, I'm going to pick up a little more yellow this time. These are a little closer, so they're a little brighter. And same thing here. And let's do this one. I think the big one is going to be on top, so we're going to, if it gets too bright, just go back in and pick up some of your darker greens. And you can come back in, even go over it. All right, so while I got that on there, I'm going to form some land under here. Basically, I'm just going across and tapping. And then here, form some land right in here. Same here for these trees to sit on. So we've got some background trees. I'm going to clean that brush. I'm going to go in, tap some of the white. Pull that out. With that white, I'm going to open that brush up. Just open like that. And here I'm just kind of touching and lifting up a little bit. Don't want a lot of detail. It fades those back in. And it gives it, looks like maybe there's some trunks or something down in here. All right, I'm gonna tap a little bit of that yellow green, maybe right along here, especially towards that center. You can see that where that light is shading that ground. Pull some of that down, and let's wipe that brush off, lightly go across. So you've got some of the yellow reflecting down into the greens and stuff where it's brighter. So let's clean that brush. We'll set that aside. Now we gotta decide what we want to do up here. Do we want to continue with the land? I'm gonna pick up some of the yellow. Just kind of tap a little bit in here. Just add some little lighter. I'm going to clean that brush as well. I'm going to pick up one of my bigger brushes, back to my big brush. I'm going to pick up some of that green, and I'm just tapping into it. A little bit of the yellow. You can even touch a little bit of the white on it, but go back into the green. I don't want white. I just want to lighten it up. So now here, you're just tapping. That's a little darker, so I'm going to go back into my yellows. If you tap on it, it's too dark, just go back in, tap. Now we got a brighter yellow coming down here. And this, by changing the color, you get different planes. I'm going to go back to my greens. And basically, I'm just bringing that land down. And filling in areas here. Let's go back in just a little bit of that yellow, maybe. Yeah, a little bit of that yellow in there. And you can see different planes going back. Let's do the same on the other side. And it's a little wobbly, so hold it. And you decide, you might want that river to flow off here, or you may just want to bring your grass straight all the way down to that corner. I'm going to tap a little bit of the white. And that just changes the tone of that there. I'm going to go and touch up just a touch of yellow right in here. That light's coming right down, zinging through there. All right, now let me clean that brush. In fact, I think I will pick up, I have another brush here I can use. I'm just gonna dampen it. And underneath here, I'm just gonna grab and pull. And these are reflections. In fact, I think I'm going to pick up a little more of the green. I want to bring that out a little bit more over there. Or some of my darker greens. Make some blues in. I want to set those trees sort of on something. All right. I'm going to clean that. Dry it off good. And then underneath, just kind of with the corner, pull those reflections out a little bit. Just by going across, it kind of blurs them, makes them look more like reflections. I'm going to take this brush, touch a little white. I'm going to pull it straight so it's nice and sharp point. Right here, I'm going to kind of, and you can do this with your palette knife too, but what I'm doing is just kind of pulling some little lines in. Let's pull that out a little more white underneath here. And if you're more comfortable with the palette knife, you can. Not everybody has one. And basically, you're giving it a little shoreline. And then I'm going to kind of wipe the extra. I picked up the green, go back into some of my whites. And right in here, maybe just here and there, a couple. Just, it makes it look like that water's flowing. So we now have got a nice basic background. We can decide, do you want another evergreen? Do you want trees? Maybe some, let's go in some bright red. I'm gonna touch it, just touch of white. And then I'm gonna kind of dull it down a little. Just, I'm not doing a whole brush, just a little bit of the green here. And maybe there's something, some red clover or something going out here. If you do it on one side, you kind of put it somewhere else in there. And I'm barely touching. I'm gonna go back into my greens and blues. Maybe a touch of the yellows. And if it gets too bright, just keep tapping at it. With the green in the background, it will dull it down. Now I'm gonna pick up some of the yellows. Just gonna kind of wipe my brush a little bit. I still got some of the reds on it. But I'm gonna tap into the yellows. Maybe here You got something growing out here. And like I said, if it gets too bright, just keep tapping. It'll blend in with the background. Now this one I'm kind of doing almost like a hill, almost at an angle. And by angling that brush, it makes it look like the ground is coming down at you. And I'm gonna I want to keep it darker back here for shadows, but out here you can bring some of that down. Looks like now it looks like that ground is coming down at you. Maybe out here a little yellow, because that light is zinging across there. And here a little bit. Don't want to lose that lighter green. So we've got now quite a bit of contrast, different colors in there, maybe here. So now I'm going to take some white on my finger and a touch of yellow. Just both. And right in here, I'm going to kind of put and I've got a soft brush here. I got a fan brush, but it's super, super soft. And I'm going to kind of very lightly, I don't want to lose that, just kind of blend it out a little bit. So it almost fades in there. So I'm gonna grab my knife, touch it, get a little bit of white paint on it, and then I'm gonna come back in and highlight that shoreline. Keep these lines basically straight. You can drag it down along the shoreline, but you're basically, that line is basically straight. And let's see, let's get a little, let's see, right along there. So we've got our sunlight coming down. In fact, I'm going to touch just a little bit of yellow and right there. And then I'm going to go back to some white. Since we put that sun in there, I want it to kind of look like it's reflected in that water. So we've got that bright yellow reflected down here. And of course you've got your alizarin around it. So now we've got ourselves a decent painting. Let's go in and maybe, oh, I'm looking for my twiggy brush. I'm gonna get it wet. I'm gonna take some of the reds and the greens, mix those together. I get a nice brown. I'm gonna get that real wet. I'm gonna roll my brush in it. And I'm literally rolling my brush in it. Then I'm gonna drag it through some white. So I got white on one side, brown on the other. And here, I'm gonna drag a little back into the brown, roll my brush, get that white on one side, back here. A little tree. And if it's not coming off, wet your brush, go back in, get that. It's almost running like ink. Yeah. Let's start at the base, get it a little wider. I don't want to completely hide anything. Just kind of, but by doing this, it kind of pushes everything in the background. Get a little more brown down here, a little bigger foots. Go in, pick up some yellows and greens, maybe pull some grasses up there. In fact, while I've got that going, I'm gonna pull some grasses up here along the shorelines. Maybe along here. It's not a lot, it's just a little bit, just enough to, it just adds a little detail. All right. And I'm gonna add some greens. Maybe it's just starting to bud out. Not gonna put a lot. I don't want to hide that sky. After we work so hard putting that sky in, I don't want to lose it. So I'm just barely touching, adding, and like I said, it kind of pushes everything back, gives you more depth to your painting. But like I said, we've worked so hard on doing that sun and that sky, we don't want to completely lose it. And so stand back, look, maybe a couple here, and I think that should just about do it. Just a few leaves budding out here and there. I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna pick up some alizarin crimson, some blue, add that to my browns, roll that brush, find it nice, and I've got a couple birds flying in. I'll go find my, and I think we're ready to sign this. And I'm running out of paint there. I think we have a finished painting. Hope you enjoyed that one.